We're talking about one of the fastest ways for you to experience, to really abide in the truth of who you are and your essential nature. And that nature is pure, profound peace. Not just peace, but also contentment. There's happiness. This is at the core of our being. And so we're going to talk today about one of Ramana Maharshi's teachings that will appeal to you if you're a bhakta like I am, the path of devotion and love. And Ramana Maharshi definitely taught self-inquiry as one of the practices to really move straight into the pure awareness that we are. But self-inquiry doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes self-inquiry, from my own experience, has kept me more in the mind, which is really not where we want to be. We want to be in that peaceful presence of being really present right here, right now, no matter what's going on around us, no matter what the situation is. And to do that, it means really going beyond thoughts, going beyond feelings, going beyond perceptions. And so we're talking about the pathway of unconditional surrender. Unconditional surrender. This is what I have been doing for a long, long time. And it's really, there was a time in the beginning of 2022 where I was in a meditation. And while meditating, I decided to completely let go. I mean, surrender everything. And I'm not just talking about surrendering certain thoughts or certain patterns or certain behaviors. I'm talking about such a profound surrender that there's a complete letting go of identification with the belief in a separate self. So what does this mean? Because we're talking about non-duality. What we're surrendering to is not something outside of us. It's the source that's within. It's the core of your being. It's that pure awareness that you are. And the effect of that, the experience of that, is that deep, profound peace. You hear the birds? That beauty of being in the moment where we're so present. I mean, we're so right here that these sounds of nature could just penetrate you down to your core, and nothing can disturb that. Nothing can move that. Nothing that's happening in the so-called world, nothing politically, nothing with issues around someone's problems or your own perceived problems. This peace that is at the core of who we are, you can't bring it about by yourself. We just can't. Because all of the conditioning, all of the perceptions, all of the beliefs are in the way of that. This is like the junk, the garbage, if you will, covering up the truth of who you are, of your innate nature of that peace. So just say, well, I'm going to have a peaceful day and I'm going to let everything go. It won't work because the mind won't let it. The mind's going to keep taking you into the future or thinking about the past or projecting. It's not going to allow you to sit and be and stay right here, because if it does, that's really the death of the ego mind. It can only survive in the past or the future. It can't settle and really stay right here. It's always moving. So Ramana Maharshi gave a talk back in 1946 where he talked about unconditional surrendering. And he talked about surrender bringing about the power of grace. This power of grace that he said has the ability to transcend destiny. So what that means is, as we surrender, this power of grace allows the whole slate to be brushed clean. Everything. It takes you back to your core self. So the programming, the conditioning began way, 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 way back, right? From the very get-go. We actually came into this life with preferences and a certain temperament and things of that nature. So what I'm talking about is a surrender that's so deep that it cleanses all of the patterns and beliefs and conditioning of the mind and body that is now blocking that. And we can't do this without surrendering. It's very difficult to do it when we still think that we are in control of our life. The thing is, we're not in control of our life because we are life. We're life itself with a capital L. The surrendering I'm talking about, I'm inviting you to join with me in today, is a surrender of everything. So we don't want broad strokes here. We want to really get into specifics. So we don't just say, okay, I'm going to just surrender everything right now and let go. Well, that's a beginning. And you'll notice as you begin surrendering, the body will just begin to melt into this moment. It will deeply relax. And the mind will begin to settle down too. What we're surrendering is all of the identity tied into a belief that you are the doer, that you are making life happen, that your preferences matter, that your beliefs are really important. All these things that we hold near and dear to our heart has got to be surrendered. Every shred of our being. I'll never forget sitting on the bed and meditating back in the beginning of 2022. And I had been surrendering already, but this was different. It went to a whole new, deeper level of surrendering than I had ever experienced. And then what was brought about by that was I went into a temporary state, but it was a state that lasted 5 months of pure bliss. And then there was deeper surrendering that was needed, because see, this stuff, like the thoughts and the perceptions and the feelings and all the doubts and concerns and everything that we're hanging on to, it kind of comes up in layers. And so the practice of surrendering is to continue to deepen it and go deeper into letting go with each practice. So we could just start by surrendering lightly, but over time and with practice, you'll keep going deeper to where when you wake up in the morning, it's just an immediate letting go of the entire day and giving this day to the source of what you really are. So what we're letting go is, think about your beliefs. And it's hard to get in touch with all of our beliefs because much of what I'm talking about has been pushed down into the unconscious. Through the surrendering process, that stuff comes up to our conscious awareness so we can surrender that. But let's start with some of the beliefs. We're surrendering all the beliefs. This whole belief system has been formed over time, and it's conditioned beliefs. They're conditioned beliefs. They're not an original belief, because the core of what you are, your true being, doesn't have any beliefs. There's no beliefs, there's no preferences, there's no judgments, there's no resentments, there's no perceptions about anything. It just is. It's pure isness. So when you're surrendering, we're willing to let go of our attachment to how we see ourselves, to who we think we are, to the perceptions that we're holding on to the feelings we're holding on to the beliefs we're holding on to our values. Really our preferences are incredibly important to surrender. If you really want the profound peace to carry you through every single moment of today, you will be willing to let go and deeply surrender your preferences. That means all of the things that you don't like, as well as everything that you do like. These preferences create a wall around us. Peace cannot bubble up from our true nature when we're hanging on to preferences about how we want to see things work in the world. I mean, what we're talking about today, when I say unconditional surrender, and I'm pulling from the teachings of a teacher I love very much, Ramana Maharshi, we mean everything has to go. Every single thread that's keeping you tied into this belief that you somehow are in control of your life and that what you believe is the truth, all of that has to be surrendered. And, just talking about it, I could feel my body going into a very relaxed position here. I'm out in nature, so that is something that seems to happen naturally with the body. It just lets go. But I'm really sharing with you an accelerated process to directly experiencing your truth, that incredibly peaceful nature, the happiness and the contentment. Those three, I don't even want to say they're qualities, they're beyond that because they are who we are, but those can only be experienced through the practice and the deep, profound willingness to surrender everything that you have held really near and dear to your heart, to be willing to trust enough that if you let go, then who you are can really arise. So you experience that fully, and you have then the peace that on some level we all want. Whether we're someone who seems to like a lot of drama, or we engage in a lot of conflict or debate with people, underneath all of that programming, underneath all that conditioning is the deep, deep desire to be at peace. So just remember that that peace that you are seeking, you are that. You are that. Namaste.